Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, the DealerOn Academy Q2 Automotive Marketing Briefing. My name is Amirrezvani and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing search engine optimization, the absolute best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the brand new award-winning Chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Yeah, I didn't think so. Maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. And we have an awesome show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have members of the DealerOn Executive Team here to speak to us today about current automotive marketing updates, industry perspectives, and best practices. This webinar is going to be packed with great information, and it's designed to be a whole hour of interactive exchange with ample time dedicated to Q&A. So get your questions in now. Today, the members of the DealerOn leadership team that are here are going to be Shaun. He's the Vice President of Biz Dev at DealerOn, and he focuses on extending DealerOn's OEM channel and business development initiatives. And Gifford, our Director of Search and Social. He's responsible for our comprehensive digital strategies that get dealers noticed online. A few other people might be dropping in a little bit, but for right now, we are pleased to have both Shaun and Greg here. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Ooh, guess what? Our good friends at AutoHook are sponsoring this week's webinar giveaway. AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver. They've built the ultimate attribution engine, which tracks that customer through the lead, showroom visit, and purchase, and then delivers a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned. You could be the one walking away with this awesome prize today. And for more information about AutoHook, visit lead2show.com. That's lead with the number 2 show.com. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to win some Google prizes. And hey, do you tweet much? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Amirrezvani. You can also hit up the executive team at DealerOn. There's at Shaun and at Greg Gifford too. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. So let's get started. The DealerOn Academy Q2 Automotive Marketing Briefing. That's right. Okay, now let's make sure we have our webcams on. There we go. Love it, love it. Oh, I lost mine. We'll turn mine back on. All right, we're going to get started first with a message from Shaun. He's going to give us some updates for us right now, aren't you, Shaun?
I am.
Before you get started, take a drink because I know you have a lot to get to. Before we get started, I want to remind the audience, this is a complete hour of questions from you. So get your questions in. We want to see how many of you we can help today during the marketing briefing. All right, Shaun, take it away. What are the kinds of things we need to know about? Update us.
Well, first of all, let's just talk NADA wrap-up. So we're fresh back from Las Vegas, and I have to say this was probably the best NADA that DealerOn's ever had. And really, that's because of our dealer customers and our vendor partners. It was amazing because of a bunch of things. One is all of the pre-show marketing that we had done, all of the preparation work. Gifford, if you didn't see the video that he put out yesterday on mean tweets, we just had a whole bunch of stuff kind of loaded up so that we were kind of ready. But I told a couple people that asked me if it met our expectations, and it blew them out of the water. And my expectations were really high just because of how much hard work we put into pre-show efforts. Yeah, absolutely. The booth was amazing this year. We decided, for those of you that didn't get to see it, from a company perspective, we stepped up our presence pretty significantly. Many of you have seen our booths before, Well, we typically have done a 20 by 20, and some of you that don't care about trade shows, it's, a little bit geeky. But we went to a 40 by 30 this year where we kept some things in play that are very much the culture of our company, which is very, you can come and relax, you can come and hang out with us. Lots of people that don't even buy products from us, who are our friends and people that we partner with, they come and they hang in our booth because they love to be able to feel like they can put their feet up. If you're at NADA, especially of all conventions and expositions, it's the one that really, really is more demanding on your physical energy and your feet. So the back of our booth had a full bar, as we always do at NADA, which was fantastic. We had the best bartender we've ever had, who was almost like, he should just work for DealerOn. He was that good. So we had couches and chairs. We had seats. Greg is making sure that he shares some pictures. We had more workstations than ever before. We had a larger staff there than ever before, and we had done all of the work to make sure that we pre-scheduled a whole bunch of demos ahead of time. And so it gave us the ability to have people, not just the number of people that were available to talk to the dealers that had set appointments, but then just for the fluctuation of people that come in between workshops at a normal NADA. So we were really excited, for those of you that care about really knowing what the NADA wrap-up is for us. It was awesome. We signed up a bunch of business during the show, which is always for big companies. You're always hoping that you'll have those opportunities to make a significant impact while you're there. And we have more follow-up than we've had, I don't know, in years. And the last 3 years have all been really, really good for us. So we're coming out of NADA really excited. We had a great time. We threw a pretty fun party that was really, it really kind of piggybacks the Joe and Shaun karaoke song, which is, that's my deal. But whatever, DealerOn was like, we've been down there to Dino's, which is really, it's like Vegas's oldest dive bar at the bottom, at the end of the strip. Greg, you are killing it with the peer support for this. I love it. So we go down to Dino's, and if you've never been out to Vegas for an event, we like to make sure that you feel like you're DealerOn family, and DealerOn thought it was a good idea to go to the spot that I like to go to with Joe Webb and I when we do our karaoke thing. So we went down there and we basically told everybody to come, and we packed the place out. I mean, it was hard to walk around in there. It was crazy. But I've had so many people, actually, I've gotten emails of people who are like, hey, thanks for inviting me. We had a great time. And the main part about that I'll kind of use to tie a bow around this is we did a karaoke contest. It wasn't the same thing as like a Joe and Shaun karaoke party. It was, but we did a contest specifically where we had people that had entered to win a $500 prize. And so those people sang. We had some great singers. And it turned out that the judges, none of whom were DealerOn employees, chose Paul Jimenez. If you know anything about the Polystrong Foundation and NADA's involvement with that, or actually DealerOn's involvement at NADA regarding Paul's foundation for his son who passed away from pediatric cancer just back in January. Well, Paul is absolutely the king of Beastie Boys and karaoke, and it killed and it crushed, and he won the prize, and it was a pretty cool thing. So there was kind of some tender moments along with partying and a great, very successful NADA. But those things don't happen without the success. The success doesn't happen without all the people that helped. So all the DealerOn people and all of the dealers and partners that came and were a part of that, thanks to all of you as well. It was awesome. It was really, really good.
It was a really great NADA. I'm sorry you guys missed it. Please, please, please try and make it out for the next one. And by the way, Greg, tons of people are writing in saying that they loved the video that you posted with the mean tweets. And yes, all three of us, I think, were in the mean tweets video. Wait, Shaun, were you in the mean tweets video?
Yeah. Shaun didn't do one.
Oh, I got out of the mean tweets, but somehow I have a feeling that Greg's going to want to do a follow-up.
I think we'll have to do that at every conference from now on. That was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So we had a lot of fun with that. And hey, for those of you that are wanting to see more content that comes out of what we were doing in NADA, we're going to have some other things that come out, some man-on-the-street questions that are kind of fun as well. You'll be seeing those come up on Wednesday workshops. If you're not familiar with that, make sure that you go to DealerOn.com, and under the About Us section, you'll find our blog, and there on our blog, we post a Wednesday workshop video along with any blog entries that come out. But every Wednesday, we put up a windshield video, and they're oftentimes educational, but sometimes they're actually pretty funny too. So make sure you check that out.
They're always pretty funny. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Sometimes. No. So the other thing I'll tell you is at NADA, it wasn't just about all the show stuff. We did talk about some things that were kind of significant. One is Spanish language websites, which Spanish language websites have been out there for a while, right? But there's always been somewhat of a fair criticism on how they're translated and if it's good. And I think this is probably the best thing for me to tell you is if that's something that you have interest in, you want to kind of know more about what we decided to do and kind of taking care of that need in the marketplace. It's probably, if it isn't, I would be surprised to know what is, the fastest growing segment in the auto industry. And it's interesting because I had a dealer come from Puerto Rico, and I took him to one of our demo sites that have been built out in this new translation method that we have. And I said, don't hold back. Like, tell me really. I want you to read the site. I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. He's like, well, do you have people that do? I'm like, oh, of course we do. But I want you to tell me, like, I'm the person you can give critical feedback to. And so he reads to the site. We click through some pages. We get into SRPs, and we look at vehicle detail pages. And he's like, this is really good. So it was really, really, for me personally, it was great to get that kind of perspective from somebody that could give me some fair, critical feedback. And he said that it was the best he'd seen. So if that's something you're interested in, you probably should check out more on us. And we should probably, Eliana, that's probably a feature webinar we should do. Just highlight something on Spanish.
So ready. Right? We've only done it, I think, we've done 2 on Spanish websites, but we could do some more, absolutely.
I know we've done stuff with Matt, right? Matt always does a killer job on our webinars, right?
Matt Koenig, yeah. Koenig did one just recently, about a month ago. And then we had done one with Zeph. Greg, you remember our friend Zeph? Yeah, so he did one.
Dude, that guy is the bomb. Okay, cool. Really the other thing we talked about is something that's now kind of native to the website platform when you're coming on is the geofencing component. So on the geofencing, obviously, for those of you that don't know much about it, it's, you want to be able to offer targeted offers. You want to be able to be very precision and laser-like and surgical-like with customers. Well, you now have the ability to do that through our platform. And again, that's not we're not the only ones that can do that, but it is an important component if you really want to be able to lock up some competitive ways to actually put ads in front of people, especially those that might be around your competitors in your local area. The geofencing piece was another part that we talked about quite a bit at NADA. So as far as some other updates, I do want to also tell you that NADA is also the time every year that PTG, Brian Pash's organization, they always do a really awesome awards ceremony, the AWAs. If you've never gone to the ceremony, they do a fantastic job, very comprehensive review of all of the vendors and the platforms that are critical for dealers to kind of know about and who the players are. And of course, he always does a very, very deep dive and review of the website platforms. And we did win that website award again. There are a few of us in the industry that have that distinction and that honor, so we're always really thrilled and pleased when we're recognized for that, because Brian obviously knows how to vet the platforms and tell dealers really what's good and maybe what they should avoid. So we did win that award also with driving sales. I believe it's the 5th straight year that we've won top website provider on the driving sales side. Another great award that we like to recognize, because those are voted on by dealers, right? So dealers that go to the driving sales platform and do the vendor review are really what fuels whether or not awards are given there. So we do absolutely appreciate that component. And then Greg did some stuff. I know I'm just going to tee this up to you a little bit, but Greg did some really fun stuff at the booth, and it really speaks to things that now exist in our wheelhouse to offer to dealers now around beacons. And so, Greg, I'm going to throw it to you if you can drop a little bit of knowledge on the folks about beacons.
Show you what a beacon looks like.
That would be so. Yeah, definitely show them what a beacon looks like, because some people probably think it looks much bigger than it really is. And size does matter, but not with beacons.
Size matters?
Wow. That was one of my webinars. Remember, Eliana?
I actually don't know what a beacon looks like. How big is it?
About to. Greg keeps one in his pocket. That's how small it is.
So this is a beacon.
No way!
This little thing right here.
Oh, so that's a mint container from Auto Trader.
So it is a Bluetooth-enabled device. Think of it like a small Wi-Fi hub. It interacts with phones. And originally, beacons were meant to be something that you would create an app, and when customers come to your store, if they have the app open and they come within range of the beacon, it would pop a message up in the app. Well, that works great for Home Depot or the Gap or Target, where you've got customers that come back all the time and are very loyal to you and would have a reason to have that app. But for dealerships, it's really hard to get an app on a phone of a customer that hasn't bought from you yet. And even if they have bought from you, are they really going to keep that app going? So what our provider has done is they have gone out and paid a lot of different app companies to include their beacon code on these different apps. So now if anyone has any of these apps in the network, then they can interact with the beacon. So there's 55 million and climbing as they continue to add more monthly active users that use these apps. But again, I still don't care about the message that pops up. What I care about is because all of these apps are location-enabled apps, they don't even have to be open to interact with the beacon. And the beacon ties directly into the API of Facebook and Instagram and soon to be Google, which means now instead of doing retargeting of people that were on my website, I am able to do retargeting at people that were physically at the dealership on a certain date. So it's really powerful, cutting edge, super kick-ass stuff.
That is really cool. Just so you know, only the people who are on the live broadcast can actually see us through our webcams. The people who are going to watch the playback will not. So just to give people an idea, how big would you say that beacon is? I think it looks a little bit bigger than a Oreo cookie or something.
Like 6 feet by 10 feet, about 3 feet thick.
It's like a little bigger than an Oreo cookie, right? Because I'm hungry, obviously. So.
Yeah, it's like an Altoid box, basically.
All right, about an Altoid box. All right, you heard the man. That's really, really cool, and that's a new feature that DealerOn is carrying. So if you want to know more, come on over, contact us over at DealerOn, and let's see if we can help you out. All right, gentlemen, are there any other announcements before we get started with our questions from the audience?
I don't think so.
All right, let's go. All right, I'm pretty sure this one's for Greg. Your first question that came in, Greg, is from Tom. He says, we just switched website providers and our traffic went down. Should we switch back?
Depends on what provider you switched to. Most likely it's not a big problem. Whenever you switch from one website platform to another, even outside of automotive, we'll see the same thing. You're going to see a little bit of a traffic drop. Google's got to re-index the site. Your URLs aren't going to be exactly the same. It may have been aboutus.html on the last site, and it may be about-us.aspx on the new site. It just depends on what the platforms are using, and you will typically see a little bit of a dip for the first month or two whenever you switch website providers. Now, if you've got an SEO on staff there at the dealership, or if you're paying a third party to do SEO and they're involved in that process, it's definitely going to mitigate some of that and reduce that. But even with SEO going, you should still expect to see a little bit of a dip in traffic for the first 4 to 6 weeks once you switch website platforms. But it'll all come back. And even if you're switching to someone ridiculously awesome like us, you may see a little bit of a drop, but then it's going to just skyrocket past where you were before. So I wouldn't jump to too many conclusions.
All right, great answer. Thank you so much. And Tom, if you have a follow-up question, please write on in and let us know. All right, next question comes to, it's actually addressed to you, Greg. This one comes in from Tim. He says, Greg, I've been seeing many articles talking about social media sites changing algorithms. Can you explain what this is and how it might affect us?
Well, I would be curious to see what algorithms he's talking about or what articles he's been reading. But, you know, with Facebook, for example, Facebook uses its algorithm to determine who's going to see your posts. So to really put it down to its most basic level, let's say I bought something from you, and I decide to follow you on Facebook, and then you share a post on Facebook that Facebook decides to show in my feed. If I don't interact with that post in any way, then the algorithm will notice that and be less likely to show me something in the future. So then the next time it shows me something, if again I don't interact with it, it's going to see that, and after 3 or 4, or who knows what that number is, but after a few times of me completely ignoring your post, it will quickly become a situation where no matter how often you post and no matter what you post, I won't see anything that you post ever again. On the flip side of that, if you share something interesting or cool and I do interact with that post, I'll be more likely to see something in the future. So if you continue to share things that I interact with, I'll see more and more of your posts moving forward. So that's how the basic Facebook algorithm works. He could be referring to the fact that there have been discussions about changing the timeline in Twitter, where now instead of being reverse chronological order, they will be more like Facebook and show you more of the important, things that happened while you missed it, sort of a thing. Same thing with Instagram. So it's not really going to I don't see that there's a whole lot you can do. I mean, as far as Facebook and Instagram go, you shouldn't be really targeting those as a source for making sales anyway. Those are a source for keeping in touch with customers and doing customer service. If you're trying to increase sales or service visits, you really need to look at them as advertising platforms, and in that case, it doesn't really matter what the algorithm does because you're paying for the reach of your ads. So
just so you know,
that answered the question.
I think you did great. Tim wrote back and he says, that's the article I've been reading about. Okay, so we have some more questions coming up. Tim, don't be a stranger. You know you can always write on in. All right, next question is, I don't know which one of you guys wants to take this. He says, this one's coming in from Matt, and he says, is there anything new in social media or reputation management that I should be incorporating at my dealership? Now, just yesterday, I saw the whole thing about Facebook Live. I didn't get to check it all out yet, but I'm interested to find out more about that. But Matt wants to know anything new in social media or reputation management he should be incorporating at his dealership. Gentlemen?
I would definitely check out Facebook local awareness ads. If you haven't heard about those yet, they're pretty incredibly awesome. Instead of the standard ads where you're doing your demographic targeting, you drop a map pin on your location and then you set a radius around that location, and anyone within that radius will see Facebook ads on their mobile device. It only shows on mobile. So it's meant to draw more local awareness from people in your area, but the really cool thing is you don't have to put the map pin on your location. You can go put the map pin somewhere else, like on a competitor, and run conquest service ads, because what are people doing while they're getting their service done at your competitor? They're playing around on their phone. So you could actually hit those people by running these ads at your competitor's location. You could advertise at sports games. There's all sorts of really neat things you can do with the local awareness ads. Now, yes, that does require an additional budget to spend to handle the ad spend on those, but they're pretty exciting. There's some neat things you can do with them.
Wow, I never even would have thought about conquest ads. Wow, that's a really, really good idea. Anything new about reputation management?
Google just rolled out an announcement that you no longer have to have a Google Plus account to leave a review for a business. In the past, you had to actually have a Google Plus account. Now you just have to have a Google account. So that could be a Gmail address, or if you use your work address, it could be, if that's a Google account, that's what you could use. So it should make it a lot easier for dealerships to get reviews from customers, because it's a little bit lower bar to pass through to have to be able to leave those reviews.
Gotcha. Wow, that's great. All right. Next question comes in from, let's do this one from Allison. She says, how does social media tie into SEO? Is it really that important?
Shaun, it's so great that you're able to join us and answer all these questions today.
I'm sorry, all the ones we got so far are for you, Greg.
Social media is an integral part of SEO. Social signals actually do play in the local algorithm, so Google does want to see that there is interaction on a social sphere for any particular business. They also very recently released an update talking about how local businesses are ranked, and prominence is an important factor. Those of us that are local SEO people have known this for a while, that prominence does play a big part in the algorithm, but they've come out and said, hey, prominence is things where a business is very well known in the community. Any situation like that's going to help that business rank better. So articles about something, other websites mentioning that thing. Social signals have to come into play there as well. So you can't really do SEO without social media anymore.
I agree. Okay, Allison, let us know if you have another question for us. Okay, next question comes in from Chris. Chris wants to know, what have you heard about Google's new manufacturer and dealer automotive ads? Is that for Shaun?
Finally, a Shaun question.
Yeah, that sounds like a question relative to the changes in the Google search results page. So about a month ago, I guess now, they removed the right-hand rail, which is in effect. And then last week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, they announced, kind of in conjunction with their whole messaging around micro moments relative to mobile devices, that they've been pretty heavy in terms of messaging on since about September of last year. So a couple of new ad formats, one of them that will be manufacturer specific that actually has pictures included. These are mobile run ads, but very, very cool. If you didn't see that, by the way, I don't know, this is probably a really good topic that if you want a couple of articles, Greg's always really good at that, making sure that you can find stuff through bit.ly links in his presentations. But I actually have a couple of articles, one from Search Engine Land. Actually, the stuff that came from Think Google was pretty good as well, if you want some more info on it. But essentially, now in your mobile ad types, one ad type is coming back, DLAs, which is a dealer listing ad, which from a mobile device gives you two options. You can click on directions or you can click to call. The call-only ad type has been there for a long time, but now that the DLA comes back, that's a great ad for a dealer, especially if you're also running fixed ops or service campaigns in conjunction with new and used campaigns. And then the ad type that actually has the visual images in now from a manufacturer's level, those are really going to, it'll be interesting to see how well those perform now that you can actually see pictures of the vehicle. So I would say I'm excited about both. Our director of ops, Orko, wrote a really good blog article about this that you can check out at the DealerOn blog, and a little bit of a follow-up on it. So definitely want to check that out. Yeah, so I don't know if there are other follow-up questions to that, but very interesting formats that those just got released. One of them is kind of an old one that's become new again, and then the other one is something we've never seen before. So Google clearly is doing stuff with automotive. And then the other part, I don't know if anybody really specifically was asking about that, but the fact that the right-hand rail ads are gone now, we're certainly looking at some of the effects of that, where the lion's share of clicks for automotive campaigns came from the left-hand side anyway, so it's not a huge consequence. But there are some things in terms of monitoring what's going on with your impression share and your cost per clicks that will be important going forward, and those are the things at least our team's kind of monitoring as far as what's changed on the search results page. If you think of it this way, there used to be 3 paid positions available for PPC in most common automotive searches. Now there are 4. So 4 used to be over on the right-hand side. 4 has been moved underneath 3. The map starts basically under that. And depending on the search, you'll see 1. I've seen 2, but not more than 2 organic listings at the bottom of the page before you scroll. So it certainly changes there's a big impact on the search results page. But I think it's positive for dealers. I think you just have to manage what's going on, especially your impression share and what you're going to pay for each of the clicks. If you have a big system that runs your PPC, meaning if it's some sort of automated machine, you probably better be managing a living you-know-what out of it, because those ones will be much more culprit to a change like that, because there's a lot of those systems that get most of their value out of positions 4 through 11 or whatever. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you very much. And that one came in from Chris, so thank you so much for that answer. Before we move on, I'm going to let you guys take a drink. I am going to run our one and only poll question of the day. It is on the screen now. We'd love to know what you think about this poll question. Let's see. The question is, what changes have you seen in your SEM results since Google changed the desktop ad display in the search results? The question is on your screen now. Please vote. We want to know, do you believe that your cost per acquisition has gone up a lot? Do you believe your cost per acquisition has gone up a little? Are there no material changes that you can spot? How about my provider hasn't given me that information yet, so I don't know if it's gone up or down, or I didn't even know that that happened. Hey, any of those answers are good for us. We just want to know what's happening at your dealership. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. Once again, the question is, what changes have you seen in your SEM results since Google changed the desktop ad display in the search results? Do you believe your cost per acquisition has gone up? Your cost per acquisition has gone up a lot, a little, no change at all. Hey, you have no idea because your provider hasn't told you that yet, or I didn't even know that Google did any of that. The votes are still coming in. While the votes are coming in, I want to also let you know we have not one, not two, but 3 handouts for you today. You're going to want to check that out. So open up the handouts section in your GoToWebinar desktop display, and you're going to see 3 different handouts. One is on geofencing, which we already hit upon earlier. Another one is on our Spanish language website. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. And the third one is, I love this one. It's called 9 SEM questions that will save your ass. I'm not making that up. That's actually what it's cost. So go and download all 3 of those. Of course, they're free and they're there ready for you for immediate download. Now that we've gotten a lot of the votes in, gentlemen, I'm going to close this poll and share the results with you, and we're going to see what's going on at all of those dealerships. Are you ready? Yeah, you're ready. I know you are. You said so. Okay, 5% of today's audience said that their cost per acquisition has gone up a lot. 26%, so just over a quarter of today's attendees, say that their cost per acquisition has gone up a little. They have noticed a change. The majority, however, 32%, said that there has been no material change in what's going on at their dealership. Only 21% of today's audience said that their provider hasn't given them that information. And 16% of today's audience says they didn't even know that that whole Google SEM thing had even changed. So there you have it. Audience, thank you so much for your votes. We do very much appreciate it. And stay tuned because we're going to be giving away a really cool prize, and we're going to be getting to more of your questions right now. Okay, next question on the block comes in from Adam. He says, we have a new marketing manager who's not up on the latest social media trends in advertising. Where is the best place to go get her caught up? That one again comes from Adam. Any ideas that we can throw Adam's way, Shaun and Greg?
Of places to catch up on the latest trends?
The latest social media trends and advertising for their new marketing manager. Yes.
I would have them check out Marketing Land and Search Engine Land. Those are really great sources of information. I follow a lot of people on Twitter, so I get most of my stuff from Twitter. I can't think of a specific website or publication to send them to.
In general, I like Search Engine Land probably because Greg Gifford is a regular there. And I'm one of his biggest fans. The hair has to be a fan of the
I'm his biggest fan. Get in line.
As far as trends go, you can go outside of automotive because Search Engine Land is a really good repository for all that stuff. I also am actually a big fan of SearchEngineWatch.com. I like their layout because you can actually drill into, well, what's happening from a social perspective or analytics or PPC or SEO. Like, it has it all the topics broken down. So I'm a really big fan of Search Engine Watch. And if you like PPC stuff, I really like PPC Hero. Really good stuff there as well. And I like those sources, by the way, just because they're not automotive specific. In fact, most of the times I'm not going there for automotive. And then the other thing I would tell you, if you're looking for trends or kind of information, if that's really the heart of the question, you definitely need to go to pewinternet.org, which is a nonprofit research organization, and you can filter by all kinds of different topics, and they do real research, which is free for all of us to go and consume and see what's going on a multitude of topics, including mobile behaviors and internet usage and all kinds of things that you can extrapolate kind of trends that are going on with how people are using the internet or using mobile devices as it relates to your business. But that's just me. I try to think of those things that are influencing what we do in the car business from outside of it. Crazy, I know.
Gotcha. All right, Adam already wrote in and said, thanks for the great answer. All right, next question. And I know we have to let Greg go in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to give you some questions now, okay? Next question comes in from Andy. He says, if I have to focus on the most important thing for SEO, what should I focus on?
There is no most important thing for SEO. It's all of the signals together. There is no silver bullet. It's the aggregate of all of your signals together. Now, you may have one problem on your site that outweighs the other problems, and that would make that one thing a priority. For instance, if you've got a bank of call tracking numbers that you use, and so your name, address, phone number information doesn't match across the ecosystem, that's a pretty major problem, and that would be something to focus on first. If your provider doesn't include H1 headings on your pages, that would be a major error that you would want to fix first. If you don't have any links pointed to your site, that would be a huge area you'd want to concentrate on. But there is no hard and fast rule of, hey, this is the #1 thing to concentrate on for SEO. It just depends on the status of your site right now and what the priorities are, but there's still going to be multiple things you'll need to do. There's never just one thing to concentrate on.
Was that a trick question, Andrew? All right, well, thank you so much. Andrew, if you have a follow-up question, hey, send it on in, all right? Next question, well, hey, his name is Greg. He's the one who's sending in the next question. Greg says, do my reviews really matter for SEO? And if they do, how do I get more positive reviews? Well, that is the trick, isn't it? Greg, Shaun?
Stop sucking.
Stop.
Yes, reviews do play into SEO. The reviews on Google are extremely important to how you rank, especially with some of the updates they've made lately. You need to be very sure that you're sustaining a stream of reviews. It doesn't need to be a bunch of reviews one month and then you move on and go to another site. You've got to have that constant, steady stream of reviews. The sentiment does matter, so make sure you're getting positive ones. If you're having problems with hopefully the question is just how do I get more positive reviews, and not a question of I get a lot of negative reviews, so how do I get more positive. If you're getting a significant amount of negative reviews, you've got to look at your dealership and what's going on at the dealership. Check those negative reviews out. A lot of times you'll see kind of a trend in those negative reviews, and if that's the case, then you've got a problem internally that you need to address before you can even worry about getting positive reviews. If that's not the case and you're just wondering how you get more reviews, you just have to ask for them. There are a lot of different services out there that can help you get more reviews, make it a little bit easier for customers to use those. We use a service that sends out a questionnaire to your customers that says basically rate us on how we did, and they've got a scale of 1 to 10, and anything 6 or below, it's going to take that customer to a private forum that lets them rant and rave and say why they think you suck, but they're not being pushed to go leave a public review, and then that information still you so you can address any issues that might be there. But you're only pushing the people that rate you 7, 8, 9, or 10 to go public with the review on Google or Yelp or whatever it might be. So a system like that can definitely help. Just asking goes a long way. If you just expect that reviews are going to happen, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed at the velocity of what you're getting.
Understand. Okay, thank you so much for that, Greg. And great question there, Greg. Okay, next question. I think we might have already covered this, but just to be safe, this one comes in from Megan. Megan said, is there anything cool in SEO world that I should be incorporating at my dealership or on my website?
It's Greg Gifford.
I mean, anything cool? Yeah, me. Make sure you're getting me to do your SEO. That's the coolest thing I can suggest.
Now, just so we're clear, you don't just do DealerOn website SEO, correct?
No, I can do SEO for anybody. It doesn't matter what platform they're on.
Wow.
Beyond using me, there's no like I said a minute ago, there's no silver bullet. There's no one thing that's really going to make a difference. You just need to be sure that either the person internally at the dealership handling SEO or the provider that you use is very dialed in and really understands the difference between regular SEO and local SEO, because local SEO is what you need. So if your provider is just a regular SEO guy and doesn't understand what local is, then that's probably not good for you.
Okay. Now I know I don't have you for much longer, so I do have one more SEO question. I'm going to give one to Shaun first, though, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, Greg?
Gotcha.
All right. So, Greg, here's what we want to know. This one comes in from Stacy. She says, how does DealerOn do PPC differently than others? Do we do PPC differently than others?
Yeah, actually we do. So I guess I think that probably comes from others. I guess it just depends on where this guy works. If you're in the auto industry and you're thinking about all the other auto vendors that offer PPC, we do it very, very differently. So I'll speak to that. It may be similar to what more sophisticated agencies, especially ones that are outside of automotive, do. But I guess the simple way to explain it is kind of human touch. It's very similar to actually what Gifford does with the SEO team. We regulate how many dealers can be assigned to each SEM consultant, just like we do with SEO consultants. But I guess I'll just share a little bit more of the nerdiness of how we're different. So a lot of the big platforms, meaning big machine automated versions of whatever, and I won't name names, there's a lot of them. If you have to come up with a marketing name for your paid search platform, then I guess that for me is red flag number one. But when we start to build a campaign for a dealer, let's just say you sign up with us, most of those big machines will basically type in your dealership name and your address, maybe a phone number, and hit a button, and a whole bunch of stuff gets done without a human being having to do much at all. For us, we're going to look at things like, well, a new car campaign, we should absolutely employ single keyword ad groups as opposed to putting everything in one giant ad group. So your Ford dealer, your focus becomes its own ad group, right? Most of the others won't do this that are serving up automotive campaigns for dealers because it takes a lot of time. That means that they can't be as efficient. It means that they can't make as much money, probably, as having you assign 150 dealers and just have a machine doing all those things. So we start from the very beginning once we start building in a very, very manual, it's a bit painstaking, but it's a manual process that allows us, I have a PowerPoint deck that has a picture of a trampoline with a close-up on the springs around the outside of it. And I tell dealers all the time, think of us in terms of doing your PPC as ones that have springs, but imagine if it were bricks, right? There are a lot of these automated platforms that essentially when you set up a campaign there, those platforms integrate into AdWords with whatever settings oftentimes are default settings, and they start to, then AdWords starts to optimize around however those settings are. So if you have no ad schedule and your ads are running 24 hours a day, every day of the week, well, guess what? AdWords begins to optimize around that terrible setting. Or if you have some other bid adjustment or you don't have bid adjustments set up accordingly for maybe your mobile preferred ads, well, AdWords begins to optimize around those settings. So we do things in a way where the springs are in place so that we can be flexible around the architecture that we put in from the very beginning. But it is very, very human touch, and it requires a human to actually be managing a dealership's campaign every day. You have to go in and look at things and make adjustments, and you can't wait for the end of the month to see that, oh, well, here's the trend, because some trends take a long period of time to establish enough points of significant or relevant data to make a change, and other things you can see as soon as you log in the morning, right? So if you don't have somebody that's looking at those things on a daily basis, then you'll miss them. And yes, there's a massive amount of technology that can help with those things, but in most of the cases with automotive vendors, the machines are doing way too much. And we just don't allow, we tell the machines what we want them to do as opposed to letting them tell us what to do or when we need to send a report to a dealer. So that's probably the nutshell, condensed version. There's a significant amount of human touch to every single detail. How we set up your targeting, how we set up your ad groups, how we manage negatives. I mean, every single component to successful PPC has a human being involved with it.
Excellent, very thoughtful answer. Thank you, Shaun Rains. All right, we have a lot more questions that came in, so let's get back to Greg because we only have him for a few more minutes. All right, Greg, your next question comes to you from Bill. Bill says, what should I do about Google's recent changes to ads in SERPs, and how is this really impacting my dealership?
Well, there's not anything you can do about it. Google made the change, and we have no input on it.
Damn it.
As far as SEO, I mean, the same strategies hold. It hasn't changed SEO strategy at all. It's just changed visibility. I mean, it's game on. I mean, it's the same stuff you've been doing. There's really not any strategy change there unless you're doing pay-per-click, in which case, obviously, there's probably a bidding change you need to make, but Shaun would be more qualified to answer that than me. But as far as SEO goes, keep on keeping on.
As far as its impact on the paid search side, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but monitor your impression share very closely. That will be really important. Monitor your click-through rate, also super important. And Greg just mentioned, but you may need to make adjustments on your cost per click bids. Those are probably the main areas to be looking at right now that we've seen some fluctuation. But no massive fluctuation. But certainly it's going to play out over time. But those are the main areas: impression share, your click-through rate, and potential some CPC adjustments. Again, but this actually is perfect. This speaks very well to who is managing and how they're managing your PPC. Because if you have a machine or you have a heavy automated platform that's managing all that stuff, it makes it really, really difficult, much more difficult than if you have people that are actually tending to your campaigns and really, just like you would do if you found Luke Skywalker of paid search to work in your dealership. We're like that. We're hired Jedis. And so we have people that are actually looking at those things and making those adjustments immediately, as opposed to, oh, we'll catch it and then hopefully we can figure out how the platform will make that work. That becomes a really big difference. When changes like this happen, you have to be dynamically able to flex. And if your trampoline has bricks all around the outside of it, there's not going to be a whole lot of bounce going on.
I got you. All right. A couple more things for you, Greg, before we let you go. And it's funny that you just happened to mention Luke Skywalker. Trevor wrote in, and he says, no one has asked the most important question. What is Greg's take on the new trailer for Rogue One, the standalone Star Wars movie? And did you see Star Wars and Flash Gordon in the background?
I'm super, super pumped.
For those of you who are listening to the playback, what you are not seeing is Shaun Raines flying the BB-8 across his webcam. All right, thank you so much. Last question for you, Greg, before we let you go. Eric wrote in, what's your best advice when Google Maps addresses don't match your official dealership addresses? For instance, Google Maps wants to list as 4264 to 4288 South 1st Street. We want to list it as 3700 Highway 71 South. Boy, that doesn't even sound close. All right, again, well, this is from Eric.
I mean, without knowing why they're wanting to display a different address than what Google's showing, it's impossible to answer that question. But are they doing that because they want the visibility to customers? I mean, there's so many things that play into that, but your address on your website absolutely has to match what's on Google, or that's going to hurt you in how you rank. So if Google's showing that address and that's your actual mailing address, you just want to show something different because you think it's more visible, to cookies, you got to show what's on Google.
All right, so do they have any recourse? I mean,
well, they're trying to show something that's not. I'm assuming Google's showing their legitimate address, and if Google's showing their legitimate address, but they just want to display something different because maybe they'd rather show the side street or a closer major street, too bad. You got to show what's on Google. If Google's showing an incorrect address, it's very easy to log into your account and just update your address.
Okay, Eric
but
wrote
if
back.
You're trying to show a false address that's not really your legit mailing address, then that's not going to work.
Okay, Eric, which address is official? He wrote back it's official, but he didn't say which one. Is the Highway 71 South the official address? Right on back in, because we got to let Greg go. Okay, he says yes, Highway 71 is the official address. That's the address they want to show. For some reason, Google Maps is listing it as some other address entirely.
They just need to log into their Google My Business account and update their address so that it shows the right address in Google. Very easy to do.
Okay, Eric, which one is listed in Google? Because I think he's thinking that it's that's where the problem is that Google isn't seeing their official address or something. I don't know. Eric, are you still there? Well, all right. Eric is not, okay, he says we've got it mapped in Google. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
I don't know how to answer that either. Eric, why don't you get in touch with Greg offline? We do have to let him go now. And let's see if maybe we can help you out with that, okay?
Yep.
But we have some more questions to take care of. Greg, always a pleasure. You know, I love seeing your friend. I already miss you from NADA, and hopefully it won't be long before I see you again, sir.
See y'all.
Thank you so much. Take care. All right, Shaun, are you ready?
No.
Let's do it. All right.
Yeah.
Next question comes to you. Oh, gosh, we have so many questions still for you. Okay, next question comes to you from Steve. He says, how do you explain excellent conversion to VDPs, but terrible conversion to leads? Is there an explanation for that? That's from Steve.
So excellent conversion to VDPs, terrible conversion to leads?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, there could be a couple of things. Sometimes that's like just design philosophy. So what's the conversion path look like? If you can get somebody all the way to the VDP, and the VDP is not actually getting any traction, meaning no call to action off the VDP, then you definitely want to look at some of the things on your vehicle detail page that could be changed. At DealerOn, and you may know this, I'm not sure if you may be really familiar with us, so we have been the split testing specialists for years and years and years, and that happens to be one of the environments that we've done most of our A/B split testing on to figure out how to make sure that if we get somebody all the way to the VDP, that they do convert to a lead. That's kind of why we have our results guaranteed, right? Because we believe in conversion is the most important critical part to actually having a website. That's your website's job, is convert traffic. So I would say there maybe are some things within your vehicle detail page or on it that might be keeping people from actually turning into a lead. And that could be a lot of things. Sometimes we see dealers that will put too much content, oftentimes third-party additions to a vehicle detail page. These also sometimes are actually added to search result pages as well. But if you put too much content, in fact, I met with somebody, actually more than one, but a few people at NADA, where that was actually a problem where I said I would, personally, if it were me and my dealership, I would probably remove some of those options when they get to the VDP, because that's really the place where you want to kind of close them digitally. And if you give them too many things to think about, they may not go in the right direction, or you might actually be converting through a third party now that's going to take credit for the conversion event as opposed to your website. So I don't know if that's helpful, but certainly that is something that we see a lot, is we'll look at people that are getting to the VDP and then not converting off of the primary button that we would want them to on that actual unit, and they've either gone through something else. We've seen where GM has pushed hard, like shop quick drive, put it on your VDPs, yeah, even on your DealerOn site. Really bad idea. Or we see things, I won't name names, but there are third-party widgets, and some people like to put a lot of them on the page. And for us, all we want is somebody to experience contrast. A lot of white background with all the content that they came there for, that they came all the way down the funnel for, and the contrast is the orange button or the green button or whatever color button it is that just jumps off the page, because we want them to convert there, or to call. Call is better, but that's what we do, is we try to simplify that environment. So I would look at that, and hopefully that helps. Hope.
All right, thank you so much. Great question, Stephen. All right, couple more questions, and then we're going to give away a nice prize. Okay, your next question, Shaun, comes to you from Scott. He says, do you recommend that a dealership do their own SEM in-house? Why or why not?
99% of the time, no.
What? Why?
I used to actually
a
say
lot of
that.
dealerships do it themselves. You know that, right? A lot, more than half.
And here's the problem. A lot of them are really bad at it. They're really, really bad at it. And the problem is they've gone that direction because they found out that they were getting ripped off from people that don't do it really, really that well. And so when you have pretty much the same type of offering, when I refer to these autopilot type systems, when that's pretty much your choice from almost every vendor that offers PPC SEM to dealers, you're never going to really find a significant difference in your click-through rate, your cost per click. Even if they show you what their cost per acquisition, cost per action, cost per leads, it's all the same thing. We call it cost per lead.
Right.
AdWords calls it cost per action. So, and most of them don't even really report on that. But when you find out that your click-through rate, your cost per clicks, all the upper funnel metrics are pretty much the same regardless of who you would choose, you'd go from one to another, maybe to another. Maybe you tried 2 or 3 different people, and there was really never any significant breakthrough, so you decided, I'm going to go ahead and go out on my own and figure this out. And then you figured out I can do just as good or maybe about as good. Okay, that's possible. But most dealers are still not spending the time, and they don't have a dedicated resource to put somebody in that really knows it. Now, bigger dealerships, especially groups that are really sophisticated, there are people like that. But in comparison to the 18,000-ish franchise dealers, at least in the United States, there are certainly not enough of those people to go around, and it's definitely in the single percentile of dealers or dealer groups that have those people in play that are really, really good at it, right? So if you can, and you've got those people, then yes, do it. But I would, in most cases, say no. And I guess really fair, the answer would be, I need to really know what your situation is and what your capabilities are before I really would truly want to give you a yes or no. In general, I lean towards no, but there are exceptions.
Okay, all right. We have a few follow-up questions to that question. For instance, Mike wrote in, he says, so if someone is going to mess up on their PPC campaigns, what would you say it would likely be? And Sheila wants to know, where would somebody go to learn more about doing SEM campaigns themselves so that they can become, let's just put it out there, as good as you?
Well, I don't know about me. I mean, I got a team of people that are the ones that execute on kind of our methodologies and the way that we kind of do it. So what would be some of the things that would be like what was Michael, like a problem area?
Mike wants to know, where do most people mess up when they put their PPC campaigns together?
Well, a lot of them get budget wrong.
Okay.
And so they burn through money really fast. Their burn rate is crazy, and they're like, what happened? A lot of them get targeting wrong. So they'll simply go in and do radius targeting as opposed to as in comparison to specific zip code related targeting. So if you target by multiple zip codes, then you can go back in and find out how you are performing from a historical sales perspective in those zip codes with models. That's going to give you a lot of intelligence to realize that maybe you could tweak up your ad copy so that in a zip code that you're not performing well for, say, Tundra, maybe you could switch that up, or one that you are performing well. So it's you're playing both sides of where you're doing well and where you're not doing well, and then what that tells you to make adjustments accordingly. But a lot of dealers, we also see they struggle to figure out how to set up negatives, right? So whether it's location-related negatives, there are a bunch of things regarding negative keywords that become important, and then managing that over time because it's kind of a work in progress. Ad groups is usually where it starts for dealers. How do we set up an ad group? And it seems pretty simple, but a lot of dealerships don't want to take the time to set up single keyword ad groups because it does take a lot, especially if you're multiple brands and you've got one person that's going to manage all of that. And then ad scheduling is another area where we find dealers that are doing it on their own where there is no schedule set up, and so you're spending money typically overnight, 11 p.m., 6 a.m., and then oftentimes Sundays because most dealers are not open on Sundays, where there's no ad schedule to tell you that you should bid differently those hours a day and those days of week. You should still want those clicks probably because there is value to them, but not at the same price. So those are important things. And then I would say then the last thing I would say comes up quite a bit from do-it-yourselfers is mobile preferred settings, right? So mobile preferred settings, you should always have a couple of default mobile ads along with a couple of desktop, and they should be run in a split rotation. So the one that sucks, you're moving out and trying a new ad there. Most dealers, do-it-yourselfers, don't do that, and most of them don't set up mobile preferred ads either at all or they don't do it the right way. So they don't go into AdWords and they hit the call-only setting, so you've got a call-only ad. Now with the new formats coming in, they typically are like, what? So I don't know. Those are a handful of things that we see pretty commonly when we do assessments or audits for people that are do-it-yourselfers, which we do that all the time, by the way, if you're a dealer and you have interest in that. Especially if you can give us access to AdWords, we go through a 17, 18-point audit, and it'll tell you whether or not whether the puppy's cute or not.
Whether the puppy is cute or not. Dude, you do realize you listed like 6 different things that dealers are doing wrong.
I'm a man of the people. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Man, that was a lot.
That's what I do.
All right.
And then what was who Sheila had a question about where to go and get some articles about PPC?
Where can somebody learn more about how to get better at PPC?
Yeah, well, stop listening to any automotive vendor except for me and DealerOn when it comes to PPC. That's the first thing to do.
You heard him.
Then number 2, when you're like, well, I can't trust you, Shaun, because your hair is not well done today. If that's your deal, then here's what I would recommend. Go to PPC Hero. That's a great site to consume content from, and you'll find that the agency that is responsible for PPC Hero is really, really good. They're solid. And then I would also tell you that I would get outside of automotive and attend some conferences that will help you, like SMX. And when you feel like SMX isn't enough, then go to SMX Advanced. It will be in June of this year. You could go to Seattle, Washington, my home. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
But SMX Advanced is a great conference to go to. Hero Conference is another one that's actually this month in Philadelphia. I won't be able to make it, but I really want to go. I would look at those sources first, and then of course, I mean, my Twitter handle and my email address is we're always throwing those out there. You can always, once you feel like you got enough and you're looking for more, send me an email and I'll give you some other sources. But Search Engine Watch, I mentioned earlier too. Go to searchenginewatch.com, filter by PPC. There's always a bunch of great contributors there. So PPC Hero, Search Engine Watch, and then from conference perspective, check out SMX Advanced and Hero Conference. Hopefully that'll help.
All right, Mike and Sheila, thank you for the great questions. Hope we helped you out. Last question for you, Shaun, before we get to the big prize, comes in from different Michael, actually. He says, Rank Brain, anything big lately regarding Google's Rank Brain? How is Rank Brain's automation in this changing for dealers, or is it?
I think I know who is asking that question.
That would be Michael.
I think I know what Michael.
Which
I
Michael?
think I know. Yes. Which is always fun, right? When we get on these calls, it's like, so do you think that this is the Michael that you know, and are they actually in the United States? Because we know Michael that, I know Michael that is not. So I would say, like, right now, most of my focus has been on what's happened in the mobile ad formats and the right-hand rail being removed as far as search goes. As far as Rank Brain, if there's something very, very brand new about it, it's not something that I have enough knowledge to kind of speak to, at least on the webinar. So instead of being like, talk out of both sides of your face or stuff that you don't really have a comment on, I'd say not right now, but that doesn't mean that there won't be or there isn't something. So there may be something more specific to your question, Michael. But right now, the main thing that we kind of have a lot of focus on is what's going on with both the right-hand ads being removed and then what Google's done with mobile ads related specifically to automotive. It's kind of the bigger, I think, waves that have been shifting with regard to AdWords. Okay,
yeah. Michael wrote back. He said, nope, nothing specific. And he said, yeah, it's Canada, Michael. So,
yeah, I
know what you were thinking about?
Canada, Michael. I'm interested now. I'll have to text you later or something. I'm interested. I haven't heard a lot of musings about Rank Brain since, I want to say, like in the fall or, maybe going into the first of the year. But that was the last time that I saw something like, I don't remember if it was Search Engine Land or Search Engine Watch, where there was some comments about it. So if there's something that's fresher than that, I'm not sure of, but I know that was probably the last time I remember reading some stuff on RankBrain. It was probably maybe November. I don't know. Maybe.
All right, well, Michael says, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, contact me. So he's ready, all right? Now, audience, thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour. Guess what? We're going to give away an awesome prize now. So get to your keyboards and get ready. First one to write in the correct response is going to win this big prize. That's right. We are pleased to announce that today's webinar giveaway is sponsored by AutoHook. AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver. They've built the ultimate attribution engine, and that's going to track your customers through the lead, showroom visit, and the purchase. And then it's going to deliver a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a $250 e-gift card, from our friends at AutoHook. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though. So right now, I need you to get up to your keyboards. Get ready, everyone. Vendors, we're going to ask you to please sit this one out. This is intended for dealership personnel only, but we do appreciate your attendance here at this and all of our DealerOn webinars, so thank you so much for being here. But for all of you dealers out there and dealer personnel, this question is for you. Good luck, everyone. First one who writes in the correct response wins. And it's okay to guess. You may guess. All right, here we go. According to Google, automotive searches on phones have increased by what percentage over the last year? According to Google, automotive searches on phones have increased by what percentage over the last year? If we were doing The Price is Right, I would say you're all overbid. You all bid too high. So bid again. That's all right. I'll let you. We have somebody, ooh, so close. Missed it by one. Hey, Shaun, should I wait till the exact number comes through or it's just close?
I'm just a webinar attendee. You're the goddess. I say you do what you want.
Well, we have somebody who's close. They were off by one. So if we got it. Somebody got it. We got it. Somebody got it on the head, nail on the head. All right, the correct answer is 51%, and that was brought in by Canada Michael. Michael Christensen, congratulations. You are today's winner. And yeah, somebody did write in 50%. I'm sorry you didn't win. Somebody else wrote in the actual answer. But you know what? It's okay. We give away cool prizes every week. So come on in for another DealerOn webinar. And who knows, that could be the week you win a very cool prize from a DealerOn webinar. All right, Michael Christensen, thank you so much. You're going to be hearing from our good friends over at AutoHook directly about your prize. You're probably going to get it later today, believe it or not. So write on in just so I know what your email address is, because that's how they're going to send it over to you. And, oh, you know what, Michael? Send me what dealership you're from so I can give you a proper congratulations. For everyone who played along today, we want to say thank you so much. Come on back for another DealerOn webinar. And, of course, huge congratulations to today's winner, Michael Christensen, from Canada, because I have no idea what dealership you're from because you still didn't write it in. Well, of course, we want to thank our good friends at AutoHook for their incredible generosity. For more information about AutoHook, you can check out lead2show.com. That's lead with the number 2, show.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Also, I want to remind everyone that if you have not yet downloaded those handouts, now's the time to do it. We're only going to be live for another minute or so while I close out the show. So download those handouts. Remember, we have the geofencing handout. We have a handout just about Spanish language websites. We have a third handout about 9 SEM questions that will save your ass. That's right. So download those right now. They're ready for you. They're in the handout section of the GoToWebinar interface. And Shaun Rains, I'm going to leave it to you. Would you like to say goodbye to everyone before I close out the show?
And before I say goodbye, I didn't send you anything on this because it's very, very fresh, brand new. But if you can make it to Philadelphia, May 3rd and 4th, May 3rd and 4th, you're going to want to do that because I'm going to be there with Trace Kriplowitz and Peter Lito. Trace from Facebook, Peter from Google. We're joining forces on an awesome panel that's going to happen. And Peter and I are also going to do some really cool stuff on all this automotive PPC stuff that's been happening. May 3rd and 4th in Philadelphia, Digital Dealer Workshop. Look it up, Digital Dealer Workshop, May 3rd and 4th. and you'll see some more promo stuff starting to come out from the webinar and some other places as well. But right now, mark your calendars and come see me for a cheesesteak and some awesome automotive knowledge. I'll be looking forward to it.
That's in my hometown, baby. I can't believe it. I have to come out there and see you when you come. May 3rd and 4th. We're going to have to start promoting that on our webinars. Yeah, I would love to. Absolutely. And you know, I'm a big fan of Peter Lito's. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Trey from Facebook, but I would love to. And you heard the man. Philadelphia, May 3rd and 4th. You will not be disappointed, my friends. All right, I also want to let you know that, yes, we are closing out the show. Of course, we've got to thank our DealerOn Executive Team members, Shaun Rains, Greg Gifford. Of course, always a pleasure to have you guys on. If you have any follow-up questions, you know how to reach them. It's ggifford@dealeron.com or Shaun, S-H-A-U-N, @dealeron.com. Email them your questions, or, you know, just tell them you liked when they come onto the webinars, and they're going to try and answer any of your questions later on today. I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference. Please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to dealeron.com/webinars, and from there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. And I am so excited that we did the Q2 marketing briefing. I hope you enjoyed it too. We plan on doing one every quarter, at the very beginning of every quarter. Of course, we think these automotive briefings are awesome, and we want to make them as awesome as possible for you. So what we want to do is we want you to fill out that survey that's going to be coming to you in just a moment. I want you to write and tell us what you thought of it, what subjects you'd like to hear more about, what topics maybe we should be delving deeper into, and what really interests you. And then we'll be able to start to work on that for our next DealerOn Academy webinar in Q3. We'd really love to help you guys out, so you could do us a favor by helping us out. We hopefully will hear from you today on that survey. Thank you so much. And of course, we got to let you know that invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next DealerOn webinar. The digital secrets you need to fill your service lanes, with none other than DealerOn's Chief Sales Officer, Jeff Clark. Amazing presenter. You're definitely going to not want to miss this one. Most dealerships earn the majority of their overall profits from their service department, yet surprisingly, they don't promote that profit center online. That's just insane. Do you want to make more profit from your service department? Of course you do. In this eye-opening presentation, Jeff Clark, a longtime and noted digital fixed operations presenter, is going to teach you how to dominate the digital market and fill your service lanes. He's going to outline the most effective digital tactics to increase service business. Attendees will learn a comprehensive fixed operations marketing roadmap, incorporating the digital secrets that dealers can implement immediately to dramatically increase online results for their service department. Jeff will also share case studies and real-world examples for forward-thinking dealer groups that are winning the online marketing battle against national service center chains in the exploding fixed ops market. So if you're ready to make more profits from your service department and learn all the digital secrets that you need to fill your service lanes, well, you can't afford to miss this presentation. So register now, and don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, hey, feel free to contact me. Again, my name is Amirrezvani. I love hearing from you, so track me down online. I'm everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Google+, you name it. I'm on all the automotive social networks. Or just email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in DealerOn's continuing education series. Take care.